Welcome to a very special Sharpe Way show today. It's 1 p.m. ET, and I am still sitting here because I knew that I had to do something and bring up this issue, this idea of policing. And I know some of you want to talk about this. I see the hashtags everywhere. I see a lot of libertarians jumping on the hashtags, defund the police and all these different things. I get it. I want to discuss the details of that and how that actually can and should and may or may not work. Let me give you some ideas on this real fast. And of course, I have a plan. I have policy, because that's what good libertarian politicians do. They don't just talk rhetoric. They actually have plans and policies. And I have that today. And if you like my plans and policies ever, please like, comment, and share. It does matter. It's how we grow. It's how people decide that it's valuable. It's how people decide that they want to follow it. And as always, follow me on Twitter, Sharpe Way Twitter. Follow me on Sharpe Way Facebook. Follow me on Sharpe Way YouTube. And if you got some extra cash, always patreon.com/SharpeWay. Throw me a couple bucks so I can keep this going. Now, there are several issues that I see and I wanted to touch, because what people are talking about now, and I saw it recently, people jumping on the hashtag defund the police, defund police. Well, I know that sounds good. I get it. Sounds really good. Yeah, let's get those police. I got it. Sounds good. The problem is it's not a plan. It's not a policy. You have to deal with so many issues to make that work and not work. Different cities have done it, and they've had successes and failures. This isn't just I'll get mad and yell and scream and go defund the police, and that'll make things go away or abolish the police. What I don't want, and I've mentioned it before, and people get mad when I say it, but I still say it anyway. I'm not so concerned about right now revenge or justice or just getting them back. I want actual change that will work. I don't just want to make the right angry or the left angry or whatever the case may be, or get them or whatever. That's not what I want. What I want is actual change that will make better policing, that will have a better police force, that will allow communities to be involved, and that will allow individual communities to police themselves as they want to be policed. And that's the critical piece here. We have to have a plan that allows local communities to be policed as they want to be policed. That's what I don't see happening at all with these plans. I see get rid of it all, or things that sound good. I want to change that. I also don't want a system, which I'm going to see in my city if I don't do anything in New York City, which defund actually means take money and have more government programs, because those always work. Yeah, we've had government programs for decades since Rodney King, and we still have these same problems and issues with policing. That's not what we need to worry about. Here's what we have to actually worry about. Two important pieces. Piece number one, costs. It is expensive. And that's why we want to defund, and we want programs. I got it. So number one is cost and spending money. But the second one is something that people aren't really talking about. And this is the whole piece of my plan, is that cops are doing too much. We've already defunded other aspects of our community. And then what we've done, we've thrown it all on cops. So now we have cops who are supposed to be trained to use the gun and the taser, and we're having them deal with things they shouldn't be dealing with, right? Cops are just humans trying to do the best they can possibly do with the system they have, and it's a bad system, and it shows. So let me show you real fast what a Dallas cop talked about 4 years ago, and what he brought up, and this is the crux of my idea.
We're asking cops to do too much in this country. We are. We're just asking us to do too much. Every societal failure, we put it off on the cops to solve.
Also a problem.
Not enough mental health funding.
Yep.
Let the cop handle it.
That's a program now.
Not enough drug addiction funding. Let's give it to the cops.
He does about funding.
Here in Dallas, we got a loose dog problem. Let's have the cops chase loose dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Schools fail. Give it to the cops.
Yep.
70% of the African community is being raised by single women.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give it to the cops.
Yep.
To solve that as well. That's too much to ask. Policing was never meant to solve all those problems. And I just ask for other parts of our democracy, along with the free press,
mm-hmm.
to help us and not put that burden all on law enforcement.
100% correct. Now, I'm not, again, you hear me often. I'm not pro-cop, anti-cop. I want better cops is what I want. Better cops. and we can do that. And here's how we start to do that. We actually set up a system that allows for prevention, intervention, a division of work like any other company or a unit would have, any organization would have, allowing for community support. And that's 4 pieces. We don't actually defund the police. What we actually do is we reset the police. We literally reset the police force, and we allow local people to decide how they want to be policed. How do we do that? 4 separate divisions in every now police force. 4, FAQS. Yes, I gave you yet another acronym. FAQS. The first division, family law. Why in the world, family law, why in the world do we have cops going into issues with domestic violence, children, domestic disputes, right? When uniformed cops show up to 2 people arguing, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, someone's going to jail. Well, sometimes someone should go to jail, but sometimes they shouldn't. That is a different skill set that they should have, that the police who do that should have to deal with that specific challenge of children and family and lovers and all that stuff. It's a different skill set than a guy who's chasing a rapist or a murderer or someone like that, right? It's a different skill set, or a thief. And we have to have a separate system that deals with that issue, right? Because the skill set is different. Not just that. If it's a family law division, now local charities, local churches can support in 2 separate ways. 1, charities and churches can support the local communities with both money and personnel. Yes, why not have a chaplain go along with the family law? You might go, Larry, it's religious. So chaplains, look, chaplains are amazing. We have them in the military. They are switch hitters. They go wherever it needs to go. But that mindset, why don't you have a counselor with them? Why don't you have people who would know them, a caseworker perhaps, or whatever the case may be? It's a different skill set. And each local community can decide, you know what? In my area, what I need is this. In my area, what I need is this. Local charities, local churches, not just that. These also can provide facilities. Meaning, let's say we think that the wife might be in trouble, or the husband might be hurting her. Do we have to put the guy in jail if we're unsure? Maybe instead he goes to the local place where you hold the drunk guy who may or may not be a bad guy, and we put him there first and see if he should be arrested. All of those types of things are the things that local communities can decide upon based upon a family law division within the police force, or as a separate part of your police force. It's different mission, different hiring standards, different training and equipment, different success measures. You now judge that division not based upon arrests. Wow, what a terrible way to do that. But instead, judged by literally reviews of those in the system and those who sponsor the system, local charities and local churches, local temples, all those things. It allows for the nonprofit world to take up a chunk of that, literally taking the cash issue away, separate union if that's required as a nonprofit union. All of a sudden now the cost can come down. The community is now involved. Nonprofits can take up small pieces, or in theory, the entire piece, which would cut costs and allow for less uniformed police officers in domestic disputes, unless it's actual violence and you need an actual police officer there. It could change how we deal with this. And again, New York City may be different than, say, a small town in Ohio, as an example, right? But again, this is the first piece, is a family law system. That's the F in FAQS. First piece. And again, charities can support, local communities can support, which will lower cost, community policing, all of those things. It's a framework for prevention, intervention before the legal system, the justice system has to be involved, right? Also can help with kids, gets the federal government out of grabbing kids, takes that piece out of it, removes all that, and makes it easier and better. If it's a bad, spouse who's beating their spouse up, all right, cops come in, get them out of there, of course. But many of us who've been through that and know what that's like, that's often not the case. It is the case sometimes, but often not. But handcuffs and then violence wind up being the norm when it shouldn't be. And I would ask you, if you haven't been through it, if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, and you had a big fight and it ended with one of you getting a criminal record and being handcuffed, how do you come back from that? How do your kids see that spouse doing a perp walk in the middle of the night with uniformed cops and the lights going on, right? How do your neighbors see that? How does society see that? If we can fix that, oh my God, what a big advantage just in that. That's the F. Second piece is the A, active policing. A is the active, this is the actual cops that we think of now who go out and get the bad guys, right? They go out and get the guys and the gals who are stealing, defrauding people, raping, murdering, assaulting. That's those cops, right? Those are the cops that we see as the average cop as we think of them, right? That's what we want. But this case, they're judged differently also. The first thing is you have two parts. You follow a model that you have right now. I think it's Boston, if not mistaken. It might be Philly. I think it's Boston, where many times they have two-man integrity, two different people, right? I shouldn't say two-man, two officer integrity, right? Where one is a uniformed police officer with all the gear, ready to put somebody on the floor when that has to happen. And you got bad guys out there and cops got to put people on the floor. I get it. You got that cop there. And you have the cop who's literally in khakis and a police polo. That's the person, that's literally the escalation and de-escalation team together. They go out on all the calls. Do we need to put some money on the floor? Is that what's happening right now? Is the guy robbing a liquor store? All right, I get it. Need some force there. Or is it just someone who's unhappy or drunk or angry? And is de-escalation appropriate? So you can now mix and match those two, and all of a sudden that becomes different. But not just that. Again, we are not judging, if you notice, we're not judging them by arrest record. That judgment has to come away. They are judged instead, literally via surveys and polling of your local community and the victims of the crimes they're policing, how the police functioned, responded, helped them get their property back, gave them justice. That's how they are judged. So it doesn't matter if they arrest one person or 4,000 people. Is the community satisfied? This also allows, if you add that second, a de-escalation piece, the de-escalation person doesn't have to be an actual police officer. Yet again, allowing for community policing, allowing for local people to be involved, allowing for literally civilian and police officer to work side by side in a community. This is the structure that allows that to happen. Well, if people are volunteering or if local people are jumping on board here, you also lower costs. Costs go down, community policing. That's the active, that's the A. Q, quality of life. Quality of life side, that's the people who do like things like animal control, traffic tickets, revenue things like that, right? That's a different mindset. That guy or gal doesn't have to have a gun and want to shoot people. Not required. Again, different missions, different hiring standards, different people who you bring aboard for that, different training and equipment, different success measures. Again, that is done by local communities. Do they believe their quality of life is better or not? Do they want people, getting tickets for jaywalking in your community? You think that's a good idea? Okay, that makes you happy. Give people tickets for jaywalking. You think it's a waste of time and money? Don't do that. Absolutely. Local communities jump in. And also, the quality of life issue is probably one of the easiest ways to bring in community policing. Same idea. Nonprofits, community policing allow us to bring that in. Why break it up into these three already? I've got one more coming. But why? Because now any change can be in one division first. We see how that works and we can move it to other divisions. Each one's different division. What if each division that we're talking about here needs to be replaced or adjusted or upgraded? Much easier. What if one of the divisions needs to be replaced completely by the community, nonprofit, private company? Each of these divisions is done via contract. You have a contract family law policing division or family law peace officer division. You have an active policing contract, active policing unit contract, a quality of life unit contract. Each is a separate union, a separate contract. If these guys are doing bad or doing wrong, change them, put a new one in. Each one can swap while the other one is not being affected because they're different missions, different everything. The last one is social work. The social work unit deals with people like the homeless, mental illness, drug addiction, things of that sort. Again, completely different mission, totally different hiring standards, different training, different success measure. This now is judged by local jurisdiction, those in the system, and the family and loved ones of those in the system. That's how they're judged. And the best part about that is now, in that case, When it comes to quality of life, it's easy for local community to get involved. Social workers, this is awesome. Local colleges and universities can easily support this. If not, take over a bunch of it. If not oversee it, have the social workers oversee it while the universities and the colleges send in literally people. This is where people, this is intervention and prevention at its finest. This is where people, youngsters who are getting college degrees, who can get internships, can get on-the-job training, boom, in this division right here. And that's obviously cheaper, costs go down, and can be taken on by private companies, and even college institutions can be sponsored by colleges if they want to, right? Look at what we're creating. We are creating from our college, our, social worker program creates people who do these great things. And now people go in here into this place, and now this is where someone who spends their time in a social work division, homeless, mental illness, drug addiction, this is the intervention and prevention part, right? So if we do well here, that makes it easier for everybody else. And if we don't do well here, those people still got the experience hardcore on the streets, so that when they become actual social workers, they've got hardcore experience. And when they're talking to this guy or this gal who's been through this problem, they're like, yeah, I was on the street for 3 years. I saw it. I watched it. I was in here, trying to get you out of this program, and now I'm helping you in it. You do this, and it will change the way that we police. It is a framework for prevention, for intervention. It allows people, it's a framework to allow the private market and or the nonprofits and or communities to step in and either take over, supervise, or be part of it. And now here's the best part. Each and every community decides how it wants to be policed, whether that's a large city like New York City or a small town in Oklahoma. It doesn't matter. Do you want sheriffs to be a major part of all of these, some of these, or not? You can mix and match and test all four. But here's the best part. You don't have to lose jobs right away. Some will. You might want to slow down your hiring because community will step in, right? Or churches or colleges may step in. So you may slow down hiring. That's possible. Depends upon your local community. But there are a lot of cops right now who are already being forced to do these jobs. They don't want to do it. And some who really want to do it. So now all of a sudden you bring in a different type of cop, a different type of police officer who wants to be the prevention officer or the intervention officer, right? Great. That person can go there. And there are people now who want to do that, and they'll go there right now. They'll easily shift. They'll go, you know what? I don't want to be in the street cracking heads. I never want to do that. I would love to be involved. I've had a problem with family law. Let me deal with that, right? And cops will shift and adjust. Some will stay. But here's the best part. If you add this along with the idea of qualified immunity, as I mentioned earlier in one of my other talks, and your own insurance, again, everything begins to self-police. And we're not judged by, in any of these issues I talked about, in no case are we judged by arresting, arrest records, none of that. Not even lowering crime. That's not what we're judged upon. Each one of these divisions is judged based upon the people who are being serviced. This becomes much more of a consumer-driven model, not a top-down model, but a bottom-up model. You tell me that we can't create some type of polling, some type of surveys that can be trusted. You can do 2 or 3 or 4 of them to make sure multiple people do it. Maybe allow the unions to run one. Maybe allow a local community to run one. And we mix and match them and look and see what's getting better and what's getting worse. Easily can be done. Would there be some trouble as it began? Of course. There were tons of problems when Camden defunded theirs. Lots of problems. We can learn from that, right? And we can try these issues. But a second piece that's big. No more government programs. You don't have to create massive government programs. These 4 divisions are already prepared for intervention and prevention, which is what the government programs are supposed to do and never do, and spend lots of money and bring in federal strings and bring in, strings from above that make you do X, Y, and Z and create more administrators. No. This is local. Are the people happy or are they not? This is how you actually serve and protect your community. And how do I judge if you serve and protect your community? The community feels like they're served and protected. If they don't believe that, then they're not. Will there be mistakes? Of course. Will there be problems? Of course. We have problems now. Can't you see the people in the streets protesting? Yeah, we've got tons of problems now. And now it's nationwide. How about instead we break this down into this concept, this idea, and all of a sudden what happens? If there's a problem, it's local, and we learn from it. This idea of reset the police with the FAQS, the FAQS plan, is a good plan that sets a framework for prevention, a framework for intervention, a framework for community policing, a framework for nonprofits and private companies to be involved, a framework to cut costs, a framework to keep happier communities, a framework for local communities to be policed the way they want to be policed, and also a framework that doesn't force cops to all of a sudden all lose their jobs or a bunch of new people to come in. It can mix and match as you feel. If you and your local community believe that you're being policed exactly right, break it into these four, life is good. There'll be almost no change. If you are happy with your police force, okay. What if you're not? You can yell defund, get a bunch of government programs, watch the same police force get rehired all over again, or worse, have it need money. So what will it do? It'll start punishing the poor, which would happen in Camden, and they'll start, ticketing everybody, and so that they can all make a bunch of money, right? So they can fund themselves. That'll happen. Or you can break it up into this. It is a great framework. It's real policy. It's real plan. Hashtag reset the police with FAQS. FAQS. That is a good idea. That is a good plan. That is real policy that goes to localization and helping out the people who are involved. All right. So let me grab a couple of these questions if I can. Yes, I already mentioned qualified immunity, 100%. All right, this is a great point. How about unions? Yes. Look, you're not destroying unions. I don't want to destroy unions. But in this case, they don't have to be public unions. The unions can be separate unions for each one of them if they want to. Absolutely. Each one holding their own insurance, and they become insurance brokers. So insurance unions still have value. They also can help training. Unions can also be the ones who assist and decide how can we bring the community in. They can be coordinators. You can have lots of value for unions, of course. But again, if you have the idea of each cop holds their own insurance, the unions will do what they're supposed to be doing, which is supporting good cops, not bad cops. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Of course. Yes. Yeah, I live in a small town with no police department. I did not like it, but I know people who still live there. Yeah, and that's my point. 100%. You can decide how you want to make that work. Up to you. I'm not against you having lots of police or hardly any police. You decide. That's the point. EMS. I love this idea. EMS. Why is it EMS connected with the social working side? Right? Why is it working with the social working side? Absolutely, right? Homeless people, mental illness, drug addiction. Absolutely. You may want to break up EMS in theory, depending upon how that works, but I'd be okay. Your local community could break that up. Absolutely. 100%. I will get you a link to this. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, I actually want to make sure, Joe, you're correct. I want to make sure we actually have policy, not just rhetoric. That's the piece, not just rhetoric. That is my whole piece. Yes. Mental health funding. This is the issue. I don't want funding from the federal government, John. All that does is make things worse, make bloated programs, and strings are attached. I don't want that. I would rather you locally create your own social work section within your police force that you can fund as you see fit. And I guarantee you, I don't know where you live, John, but there are nonprofits and churches and temples that would be happy to lend a hand. There are colleges that would go out of their way to send a bunch of internships, apprenticeships, OJT people to assist them making that work. And if your community thinks we got to throw tons of money at social work, then do it. It's your community, John, and it's your money and your community. Throw tons of money at it if you think that's the answer. If you think it's not, don't. Totally okay with that. I, sitting in Albany or sitting in New York is our capital, or sitting in D.C., Washington, shouldn't be telling you, John, how much money you should be spending on your mental health funding. That shouldn't be my job. I should be assisting you and helping you to the best of my ability, but not dictating. It's not the right answer. And you might make a mistake. John, you could be wrong. Maybe you should spend tons of money in your community, and you shouldn't. Well, you'll find out, won't you? And others will watch and go, you know what? Let's not do what John did. He was wrong. Let's do the right thing. Or you might be 100% right, and everyone will copy you. I'm okay either way. Right now, it's not working. This is the framework to make sure you are policed the way you want to be policed. Yes, de-escalation is critical, 100%. Yes. Now, Einer, no portion of the criminal justice system should profit from crime, tickets, fines, etc. Yes, I get what you're saying completely, and that's how locally you decide how that works. If you remember, I talked about the idea of ending civil asset forfeiture, and it was capping the amount of money that can be brought in by tickets and fines and such. If you cap it, that changes everything. I don't want the quality of life people, whatever that division is, going out there and ticketing people because of money. Remember, they're not judged by that in this plan. They are judged by the local jurisdiction. Do they feel that quality of life is higher? If the people in your community want lots of tickets to keep people from jaywalking, that's their community. I'm actually okay with that because you as a community decided that you want to punish people in your community. Okay. But if you're like, no, stop ticketing us, then you can. You're not judged by the amount of money you bring in, and it's probably going to be capped anyway. So once you go past a certain amount, the money goes right back to the people. So it's irrelevant. So I agree with you, Walter, 100%. We have to make sure that that's the part of the quality of life. Yes. Why do public employees get unions? No competition. There's no skin in the game. If company A's union makes them non-competitive, yeah, I get you. Yes, I completely agree, which is why you want 4 separate unions, not public. This can be done via contract. Done via contract. That's all. Every officer holds their own insurance, and each one is done via contract. 100% you can do it that way, of course. Absolutely. All right. Yes, CPS incentivized, 100%. And you want to end that piece too. This is why, again, how am I judging you? I'm capping the amount of money you can bring in. That's the key you hear in all my policies. You cap the amount of money you need to, you can take from any asset forfeiture, whether that's fines, taxes, fees, whatever it is. You cap the amount you can take in, right? Tickets, you cap it, and no federal funding in this. I don't want federal funding. I want it to be local, right? So there is no incentive for that. And the other piece, of course, I want to do is you're judged by your local community. Does your local community think that taking kids and putting them into the system is a good idea? Almost no community thinks that's true. So I think with this thing, John, you also make that happen. Yes. I like these ideas. Yes, thank you. Planning is important. The issue is you're going to have to get past Democrats, Republicans, and unions to make any of these plans work. No, I'm not destroying unions. I'm giving them a way of making money still. They won't be happy because they like the way things are, but I'm not destroying them. So enough of the people will go, fine, let's deal with it. I still get mine. It works. I'm not saying defund, which turns off all the Republicans. They can't stand the concept of defunding because defund is a Democrat idea. Right? I got air quotes, right? So, of course, that means Republicans don't want to hear it. If you live in a Republican state, not going to work. And Democrats, well, you want to give an actual plan for community policing. Democrats love community policing, right? So you start adding those two things together, and both sides can grab those two together, and all of a sudden, you can start to make change. This isn't perfect, but here's where you begin. And again, if you show me later, Larry, your FAQS is not good, it should be FAQS G. It'll mess up my acronym, but at least it's a plan. I'll take a better plan. If you can show me how that works, I'm in as always. I'm always in for a better plan. But I can't even make a plan work if I don't have a plan. There's an old saying in business. If you can't find the right plan, put the wrong plan on the table. Then people start picking it apart. Well, here's my plan. I think it's the right plan. If it's not, show me. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to be changed. But damn it, I got a plan. And a lot of people don't. What they have is rhetoric and hashtags. Rhetorics and hashtags doesn't change. Rhetorics and hashtags makes people feel good, and we get no change. I want actual change. Here's my plan. So, yep, our homes for mentally unstable people were closed completely. Yes. Now they're on the streets or in jail. Yes. Angel, why are we making cops deal with homeless people? Mentally unstable people. Why? We should have a program for that. And again, the best part is once we add the community, there will be communities who will want to take these people in, help and assist. There will be colleges and temples and churches, because when you remove government, which is what I'm always trying to do, you have to have something fill the gap, which should, whenever possible, be community and or commerce. I like community. Let's put community in here. This is policing. Let's put community in. So if we can now encourage community and have a plan where it's an easy step up. The reason why I always have to have an easy step up is because for literally decades, government has been stepping in and crushing community. So as government comes in and crushes community, literally many communities are broken. They don't even know how to step up. They've been taught you don't step up. You just wait for government to fix it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make it easier for community to step up and step in. So they will, and they'll step up more. And in certain communities, you're going to find a police force shrink tremendously as communities step up. And other communities, they will still have a heavy police force because they prefer it. And I'm okay with that. I don't judge your community. I judge my community. You should judge your community. So absolutely. Larry gives me so much more political education than I've ever read in the Post article from another politician. Thank you, Danielle. That's so sweet. Thank you. I'm trying to do that. I want to make sure you understand that libertarians aren't just rhetoric. Libertarians aren't just get rid of it all. Many of us are, but not all of us are. We can actually give you real plans that actually can fix things. So totally different idea. But yes, Neil, I was the only gubernatorial candidate in New York State who said repeal the SAFE Act. No one else did. So yes. I guess you don't pay attention to me, but if you do, you know I'm the only one who does that. Yes. All right. See, Larry, others are saying the same as me. Larry Sharpe for mayor. No, thank you so much. No, thank you. I'll move on. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can grab a couple more here. Yes, we need police and SAFE Act needs to be repealed. Both are true, and you should be policed as you feel appropriately. Yes, 100%. Yes. The problem is nationwide, 100% should be stopped now, but you can't stop a problem. Here's the problem. If you just go, it's bad, people become afraid. And when people become afraid, they make bad decisions. We see that again and again and again. So what do I want us to do? Have a plan. Have a plan and have one that actually makes sense. Have one that other people can actually hear and get. Have it so that people would actually want to do this and won't immediately just fight and will instead go, you know what? This might make sense. That is what I want. That is what I want. Larry, what happened to voluntary individual economic and social positive reinforcement and negative ostracism as time-proven and far more effective behavior modification tool? The government stepped in, David, and crushed our spirit. I see that heavily in poor communities, particularly brown, black, and immigrant, but now also even in poor white communities with the war on drugs and the war on poverty. This has been devastated in most communities. That's what happened to it. Government intervention smashed it with a hammer, and we have to get it back. And programs, I shouldn't say programs, don't say this, bad word. And policies and plans like this encourage that to come back, right? As I say, hey, how can you, community, intervene and prevent? And people go, oh, yeah, we used to do that. We could do that. Yeah, you can. And people will start. David, some communities are so broken that they're not going to do it at all. They're going to keep the old style because it's all they know, and fear will stop them from making a better change. But they will then notice other people. They will go, oh, in that county, that's similar to my county, this idea is working. Maybe we should step in. And I think we do grow that. I think it's hard to break, 80, 100 years of government intervention beginning to crush this. You can't break it in 5 minutes. It's going to take a decade or two to begin to bring it back. I think this is how we do. That's my view. This is how we do it. So, yeah, I don't think we don't need the police. I think we need to reset them and stop making them do too much, which is what that police chief was saying. Let's make cops do what cops do best. Let's make social workers do what they do best. Let's let ticketers do what they do best. Let's let people who are in the family law system do what they do best, right? I do want cops grabbing people who are thieves, murderers, rapists, fraudsters. Yes, go get them, cops, 100%. No worries. All right. Let's see. Yes, a good plan. How likely to be implemented? A whole lot more likely than defund the police. That's what I would say. A whole lot more likely than defund the police. Can defund the police work? Maybe. But again, you've got Republicans who hate it. So if you're in a red district or red state, probably not going to happen because Republicans hate it. You have Democrats who are broken in half. You got Joe Biden walking away from it, walking back as fast as, well, not defund. What I mean is Joe Biden's walking away from it already. right? And he's the, I guess, the new warlord of the Democratic Party, right? Whatever their warlord is now. He is. So he's walking away from it. So the odds of it being implemented, I think, are a defund are slim. This one actually can. Again, this is a framework that people can walk down. And if you and your local community want to have a stronger police force, you can. And if you want to have a smaller one, you can. And if you in your world think you need a bigger division in social work or a bigger division of family law, you can. You can mix and match or shift. Also allows you to literally fire only one of them and replace one of them. Say your social work division is failing miserably. Or maybe they put a profit margin in that some people are worried about. And they put that in, and now there's a back dealing with universities. Great. It's a contract. They broke the contract. Your social work division gets fired. You begin a new company. Done. But your active policing is doing well. Your quality of life people are doing fine. Boom, they rock and roll. So this is a plan that may not get used today, but it should get used soon. It's a one that will work. And that's what matters. It will actually work. Good. There we go. Facts. We said the police. Joe, you are my brother. I appreciate that. I love that. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can figure this out here. A couple more if I can. All right. Yes. Are we ready for us to demand change? I completely agree. Yes. And who am I having on at 3 today? Joe, you will be on today. Absolutely true. All righty. I hope this was clear. You cannot tell a community how to run their lives. That's why we need localized control. Sadly, Paula, we've been doing it for years. You should, the phrase cannot isn't accurate. Actually, should not is better. You should not tell a community how to run their lives, but we've been doing it for at least 50 years, and it hasn't been working. So you're right. We shouldn't. And this is a way to not do that. We have to make sure we fix this, right? Defund of politicians. I'm with you, Justin. I like that. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And yes, solutions are absolutely better than rhetoric. Rhetoric is fine. Rhetoric is fine for activism, for getting people to think about something, for getting people to care. Look, the rhetoric of defund the police is what got me to make this plan. So rhetoric does have value. I'm not against rhetoric, but rhetoric is the beginning. Rhetoric is the way they begin and start and motivate and get people to go, yeah, this matters. This is important. I love the idea. Rhetoric has to then equal solutions. It has to equal plan and or policy, either one or both, depending. Action. If it doesn't do that, it just makes people feel good. And while that's nice, I want people to feel good, it doesn't actually bring change. Yes. So yes, it is going to be hard, a Herculean task. I like that phrase. Yes, doesn't mean we can't do it, right? We were able to make this happen, so we can fix this, right? We can do both. So I want more people thinking like you. Seriously, great, Keith. Then you got to like, you got to comment, you got to share. You got to let more and more people see this, care about this, so that they will think the way it is. And yes, I break it down. It's always, remember, what we have to realize is government is always two things. Government is monopoly, and government is a massive jobs program. If we understand those two things at our core, we understand we can't just end it. It's a monopoly. What's going to be there when it goes away, right? So we have to create something. And again, you either create commerce or community. I'm all about community, as you know. So I want community to step in whenever possible, right? So you want to create either commerce or community to fill that gap of government, right? When you remove it, because it's a monopoly. And then it's a jobs program. So people don't just walk away from their jobs. It's how they pay bills. Remember, 1 in 7, soon to be probably 1 in 6 Americans works for the government. That's a massive jobs program. So I have to find a way to retain some form of jobs or to create new ones to replace those jobs. Otherwise, people simply won't do it. They just won't. It's against their best interest. And that's the issue. So you're completely right, Nicole. Absolutely. So yes, government is force. It is a monopoly of force. Excellent. Yes. Larry opens the playbook of the rhetoric. Yes, I like that. Very good. All right, guys, I want to say thank you for this. This is what matters. I hope you see this. I hope you try to, if you think I'm wrong, no worries. Show me where I'm wrong. I'm happy to adjust or shift or change this. Please share this if you like it with everybody. Steal this. If you're running for office, take this as your policy. I'm giving you policy. I gave you the quick policy, steal it. Take the FAQS policy, take it, steal it. Don't even give me credit. I don't care. Just take it. Let's make some change. I hope your little community grows and gets better. Guys, as always, please like, comment, share. It does matter. I keep saying it. I want you to do it. It does matter. Go to my Twitter. If you haven't liked Sharpe Way, go like it right now. Like my Twitter, follow it. Like me on Facebook, The Sharpe with Larry Sharpe. I need to get more likes. Click on it. You tell me you like my stuff? Prove it. Like my stuff on Facebook, The Sharpe Way. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Click on it. Do that. And if you've got some cash, support me. Patreon.com/SharpeWay so I can keep doing this stuff. I actually made this up last night about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was in there going, I can't deal with rhetoric anymore. I've got to fix this stuff. And that's when I made it up. So if you can help, please help. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you in about an hour or so. And then again, later tonight, we're talking sex work tonight. Have a good one.